Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
I'm Derek Lemaster.
I'm Jess of the Shire.
And this is a very special episode of Scream Bloody Movies, the podcast where we review a horror movie each week. And this week, there are 4 of us, for those of you that can count. How are you guys doing tonight?
Pretty
Doing
good.
Great.
Yeah.
Been looking
Excellent.
really forward to this episode.
Hoping my technology holds out.
Yes.
It will work. And if it doesn't, as a filmmaker, I can tell you we will fix it in post.
Hell yeah.
That's the credo. But Jess of the Shire is here with us because we are going to discuss Neal Jordan's adaptation of Anne Rice's novel, The Interview with the Vampire. So, guys, obviously, I have to ask this question. There it is.
I came
that I
prepared.
ask every time. This isn't any of your guys' first time seeing this movie, right?
Right.
No.
So it's yours, Derek? It's yours, kind of?
If I had seen it, because this movie came out in, 1994-ish? If I had seen it, I was a young lad, and I don't remember most of it. So my clearest recollection are the scenes I had seen on YouTube, like the little clips. So we'll just call this my first watch.
Okay.
Sure.
Do you guys remember the first time you watched this movie? Derek obviously was
Pretty
this time.
vividly.
Yeah. Just like it was yesterday. What about you guys? Do you remember the first time you watched this?
Lydia, I'll throw that to you because it's telling me I'm having internet problems.
I definitely remember watching this when I was about, 16,
Oh, there she goes.
She'll be back.
She'll be back.
There you go.
There she is.
There you are.
Different location.
Different location.
That's okay.
So when was the first time you watched this movie?
I watched this video to prepare for my big vampire video that I did for last Halloween. So it was sometime in last summer. I had just finished reading the book, and I watched the movie before I watched the new show. Which is, it's one of those things where I watched the movie and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting choice that we've made. But,
it is what it is.
I enjoy it. It's a fun
the fact
movie. Yeah,
and that's what we'll get into is its strengths as an adaptation versus its strength as a film, and kind of what we think those are, and weaknesses, because there's some as well.
sure.
But but it's not like this is not like a movie that Derek picked or something like that, where it's like a really bad.
Why do you have to go there, man?
Derek
She doesn't even know
really
that.
bad ones.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's start with the casting, because that was a very controversial deal when this movie was made.
Anne Rice
The
was
casting
not
of
happy.
Tom Cruise. Yeah, she was not happy with Tom Cruise as Lestat. She thought he would have made, she thought he and Brad Pitt should switch roles, actually, at one point. What do you guys, but seeing the movie, I think, not knowing anything about the books, I think in the movie he's great.
Honestly,
he's a lot of fun.
He's a really good Lestat. I know that Anne kind of changed her tune once she actually saw the movie. Sorry, my lighting is magically moving around me. Being blasted.
If you get abducted,
Watch out!
we'll at least have video evidence.
My roommate is very kindly adjusting my lighting for me, except that it's making it way worse.
It's too harsh. Back it up.
Sunrise.
Sunrise.
Perfect. Thank you, Bridget. Anyway,
Thanks, Bridget.
they say thank you. No, I really like Tom Cruise's Lestat. He brings a lot of fun to the role. That's one of my favorite things about Lestat, is that it's in this story that can really easily get bogged down by how miserable everyone is. Lestat, he laughs at times when he probably shouldn't laugh. He has fun in situations he probably shouldn't, and he just has a good time.
Yeah. I agree. I think he's really fun in this movie. Like when at rewatching it this time, that's what I was like. I was like, man, that's a great Tom Cruise performance. He's like, because it's completely against type, and he's just unhinged and gets to like do these big swings. We're for the last 20 years we're used to Tom Cruise, the action hero, and this was Tom Cruise, the actor.
They should let him play more villains.
Yeah, I mean, he's only really played a villain a couple times. This and like Collateral, right? And I mean, he's great, and I think he's great all the time. I really like him as an actor. I think he's a really good actor. But and those Mission Impossible movies slap, by the way. Those are good times. But yeah, I think he's really good, but it was a very controversial choice. But also, I don't think the movie gets made without Tom Cruise being in it.
That's fair. He was, I believe, pretty passionate about the role too. Like, I think he was excited to do it. I know Brad Pitt was not having a good time the entire production of this film.
We'll talk about Brad here in a minute. Yeah. But yes, you're right. I just don't think that they would. The movie wouldn't have been as big budgeted as it was, and it couldn't have been made the way it was without Tom Cruise attached.
Yeah.
His star power got the movie made. But speaking of Brad Pitt, you just mentioned him. What do you guys think of Brad Pitt in this role?
I mean, he's got the look. Handsome fella.
The wig is crazy.
The wig is crazy. The wig is so crazy.
If there was to be a weak spot in the major cast of this movie, I would say it's probably him. I know he was miserable while they were shooting this, but you can, and it kind of works for the character, but it's also like you can tell.
Yeah, he's not having near the time that Tom Cruise is having. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know the backstory. One of you two are probably gonna have to fill me in. Why was he so miserable? Did he just not want to do the movie?
He did not want to do the movie.
Yeah.
Correct. It was he.
Yeah. He tried to buy himself out of his contract, I think, and was not able to.
He didn't like filming at night. He didn't like how the whole shoot was basically at night. He just was miserable with the shooting thing. He didn't think the movie was going to work. It had nothing to do with animosity with the cast members or anything like that. It just was himself was miserable. And yes, Jess is right. He tried to buy himself out of the contract of the movie, and they said, well, that's going to cost like something like $15 to $30 million. And he's like, well, I guess I'll just film this movie.
That's fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you got me.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's fine. I agree that he's probably I think he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I was 16, I was really in love with him and his character in this. And like looking back at that, I'm like, what was actually wrong with me?
Listen,
I will say, to his credit, the character in the book is not much better. And I don't know if we want to start getting into that yet, but like Louis of the first book, I love the book so much. Louis sucks so bad. And there's a reason that after the first book, Anne decided to make Lestat the main character, and it's because she stopped liking Louis, and she said, I don't like him anymore, and I never liked him. And got rid of him for a more interesting character.
Yeah, that's very interesting to bring that up, because that is a good point. Clearly, in this movie and in like the way the story is written, Louis is our protagonist. He's the lead, and he has the arc. He has the arc in the film, and so that's funny that you say that. It's very evident that Lestat becomes the lead in the future sequels.
Yeah.
And that makes sense as to why.
Because he knows how to have fun.
Yeah. And he is more like sympathetic in the books, I feel like.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, yeah.
In the second book, Anne really retconned Lestat's character a lot. She painted him as much more of a villain in the first book and much less of a redeemable character in the first book. But then in the second book and in the third book and in the rest of the series, he kind of becomes this perfect precious baby who, although he's evil, he's the best vampire that ever lived. And she kind of uses his character to explore the nature of vampirism and what that would look like to live that to the fullest, rather than Louis, who's very much against the concept of vampirism and so doesn't get to live it to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Well, I mean,
go ahead, Derek.
Well, I was just gonna say, just from the backstory, it felt like Brad really channeled the character in a way. So in a way,
I think he was method acting, guys.
Yeah,
this whole
could have
time.
been. Read that book. He's like,
it's very
mofo.
Yeah.
I am so malaise.
He missed the sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't though? Who doesn't?
I think I would be depressed.
And I could do it.
So.
I don't know.
Yeah. Without, I mean, I'd be like, I am making millions of dollars and get to hang out with Tom Cruise. I guess I can make the best of it.
Right.
I'll do what I can. But there's a third lead to this movie, which is Kirsten Dunst, very, very young Kirsten Dunst. And what do you guys think of her?
She's perfect.
I don't know how she did it. She was so young. She was 11. And she just knocked the socks off the role. Yeah.
Yeah. Stole the show for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think you have the history here. I know you watch all of our episodes, but like I'm always impressed with young actors who give a performance like this just because of how mature the material is.
Oh yeah.
And how well they're able to like convey that it blows my mind every time.
Yeah, I know that they aged her up. I was actually just reading about this before this, but so the character in the book is 6, and originally they were looking at 6-year-old actors, and then they went, we can't do this to a 6-year-old.
Probably for the best.
Can't put a 6-year-old through this.
There's not going to be a 6-year-old that's going to be able to have the consistent performance either.
No, but for her to be able to do it at 11 is absolutely insane. She really does an excellent job with the material.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know, she looks 6 for all I know.
Oh,
you know.
Yeah.
No, she gets to paint with the broad brush as well. She gets to do like so much.
Yeah.
And that's also what is really interesting, is to play all the gambits of emotions from, fear and illness and depression to like great joy and then her murderous instincts and her depression again. She gets to all of it.
Yeah,
all of it.
I forgot how scary she was in this movie.
Yeah, she is. By the end, she's definitely like kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
And Louis like brushing his hair out of his eye.
Always.
Yeah.
He's like, you gotta quit killing people. You gotta stop, which is good advice, I will say. Good advice. Don't murder people.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're a vampire, in which case
you're a vampire.
It's actually pretty good advice to kill people.
Yeah.
I mean, Louis made it work for a while.
He ate those rats. He ate those rats.
I would have moved up to something else, like a larger animal.
Deer?
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think about it, a pig would be a really good substitute.
I don't think I would want to do that. I just don't.
But what if it's not kosher, right?
That's true.
What if it's against?
That's true. We don't know.
I mean, we don't.
We don't know. We don't go that deep into his backstory in this film.
I mean,
yeah.
In the book,
what do you got?
In the book, he's Catholic, so
he might be okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, his transformation scene, and then what I think that's a pretty cool scene in the movie. What do you guys think of that bit? Like how they portray his transformation?
I really like that scene. I think it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie because the lighting and the scene with the misty swamp all around them and stuff, it's not necessarily as emotionally charged as it could be, just because it's happening so early in the movie and there's not as much time to set stuff up. But for what they had to work with, I think it is a really, really beautiful moment of acceptance there.
Yeah, and like you said, the visuals of it are really cool. I think with the mist and all that, and then also when we get to see like through his eyes, and we see like he's like everything's moving,
Yeah,
and so it's like his vampirism, like LSD. Is that what it is essentially?
a little bit.
Like you trip out, you trip out.
At first,
I will say that statue moving didn't age the best, but it's fine.
No, 1994. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Not every movie can be Jurassic Park, guys.
I know.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
a really
yeah.
great effects scene in it though.
Yeah.
The Tom Cruise, like when they murder him.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's
the
practical
coolest.
shit. Yeah, it's the good shit.
They
That's
do
the good
the
shit.
practical effects in this are really, really fun.
They are. Yeah. So, Jess, from the book to film adaptation of the events that occur like through the meat of the story, how close are they?
Honestly, the events themselves end up following pretty closely. I'd say in terms of being like a literal, the events and beats that happen in the book happen on screen. It's fairly faithful in terms of that. But I think that was, to me at least, at the cost of a lot of the depth and meaning and relationships. And I almost feel like, because Anne Rice wrote the script, I feel like she was trying so hard just to get the material from the book to fit into a movie that she kind of squeezed out a lot of like the richness and the prose and the relationships that originally made the book so delectable to people.
Yeah, and I can see that, because how I feel about it as just a film is that it almost plays like a Cliff Notes version of another story, right? Like, you get it, things happen and things are emotional, but at certain points, but it does feel like it moves at a pretty good clip, which is good. That way, it's not boring.
Sure.
But it does feel like it's one of those things where um they have to fit of 5-pound story into like a 3-pound bag, right? So they have like a finite cutoff of 2 hours.
Yeah.
Let's fit all this in 2 hours.
Yeah, definitely.
I do feel that. Did you feel that, Derek?
Yeah, I could see where you would come to that conclusion. The movie has a really great pace. So, not having, I'm also not an avid reader, I guess that might help, because I expect the Cliff Notes version in most instances, but I felt like it flowed pretty well. I just don't have that background to really make that comparison.
Right. I mean, just as a film, right?
Just as a film, it had a really good pace, and visually it was pretty awesome.
I mean, the costumes, the scenery,
everything. It was so good. Like that theater that they go to, and then the underground portion of it, like all of that is just, you want to be there. It's pretty immersive. I think they did a great job.
Speaking of the theater, can you think of somebody better to play a vampire than Antonio Banderas?
Nope.
Okay, I have particular thoughts about the character of Armand, and I'm gonna try and hold myself back.
Don't unleash it.
It's a weird casting choice to have Antonio Banderas play the 17-year-old nymph character. Like,
so true.
He's meant to be a twink, and Antonio Banderas is a lot of things. He's not a twink.
No, he's an incredibly like masculine man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And like part of the relationship with Louis and Armand that they foster is this thing where Louis is very much in search of the beauty of the world, and like someone who has a mind that is as tender and thoughtful as he is. And I don't think Antonio Banderas misses on all of those points. It's just this, it's just a weird casting choice for someone who's meant to be Yeah, the opposite of Lestat in that he's meant to be young or feel young.
Correct. So that is interesting because as not knowing the book, I think as a character, he's fine. I think he, plays the character that we presented with perfectly well. Because we're not given any of that context. Like he's supposed to be young, he's supposed to be these things. He's just this old, this vampire that's much older than them. And also the stuff that you just mentioned is kind of squeezed out, like you talked about.
It's just
in
thinner.
The character, we kind of get like a surface level of those things with his character. But I will say, when he pops up on screen, I loved it because he's so charismatic.
He is.
And so like just incredibly cool. And I'm like,
so cool.
Antonio Banderas is just the best.
He is.
Anytime he pops up, I'm like, that guy's just the best. I remember the first time I saw the Shrek sequel in Puss in Boots talk. I was like, Puss in Boots is the best. Hands down, he's the best.
There's a reason for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is Desperado era Antonio Banderas as well. So I mean, you can't get any cooler than that.
I mean, he's in that he's meant to be a very like seductive character to Louis. I think he draws in very well. It's just one of the things I like about the way Anne Rice does her vampires is she really portrays a whole range of like what it means to be a vampire, because these characters in their immortality, what we see is like these base character types that are allowed to metastasize over centuries. And so like the worst of your tendencies, imagine how bad those will be in 200, 300, 400 years. And so you see a certain angle of that with Lestat, a certain angle of that with Louis and Claudia, but then you also see a certain angle of that with Armand, in that like he, a very damaged person, as he is in the books, who becomes this person who just clings to any ship that he can find in a storm. And so when he transfers his affections to Louis, it's a very different kind of affection than the affection we see from Lestat. And there wasn't enough meat in the movie for them to be able to get into that level of depth. And I don't think it makes for a bad movie, but it's not the same story as you get in the books, I think.
Right. And to that same point, also we've got to talk about in the movie the homoeroticism is toned way down.
Way down.
way down. Then I mean, like I said,
0.
Well, it's not quite 0.
Yeah, I mean there's some hints to it, but
there's definitely hints to it.
Yeah.
Correct. There's definitely implications to Louis and Lestat. There's implications to him being drawn to Armand, but it's like they're not overt, like, oh, we got a bone kind of thing. It's more like just soul. It feels like you're drawn to the soul of the person, and
the connection,
as opposed to the sexualization.
Yeah,
which is there. It's just an undercurrent because it was 1994, guys. I mean,
and
we were lucky that we got Philadelphia around that time. You know what I mean? Like,
And I think an interesting point of comparison to the books is Anne doesn't have her vampires have sex. They're not sexual creatures at all. So you get like there is no like I lust after you, etc., etc. It is just like my soul belongs to you. That very kind of soul deep love that you see. Which is why, and that happened because this was published in the 70s, so she couldn't make it as overt. But it means that when it comes to translating it, you run into an interesting thing of like, how do you express these love between two men? How do you explain that it is romantic without adding in the sexual aspect, which especially in film and TV, so often the way that we express that is through sex or kissing or like romantic scenes of that ilk. But
physical,
without that, it's just very difficult. At least apparently it seemed they found it a little bit difficult to translate that kind of love.
Yeah, but I think that they do a decent job of at least what they were allowed to do. We do get those hints. It's not like completely where there's not a scene where Louis says, "Man, I only like girls."
Well, they do give him.
I mean,
they give him a dead wife. They start out the movie by saying he had a wife and a child, and now they're gone.
That's because he was straight man before he, or was he bi? We don't know. We don't know. But
not in the book that he had a wife.
In his afterlife, he's open to it all.
I find
all bets are off.
I find it interesting that in the movie, so in the book, there is a backstory that Louis has with his very religious brother and the trauma that he has wrapped around the death of his very religious brother, and that kind of channels into his religious guilt that runs as a theme through the entire book. And I thought that the way that they integrate that into the movie without having that backstory was really interesting, because it does pop up in a couple of places, the religious guilt theme. It's just, it's different. I would be curious for the people who haven't read the book, like, were you catching those themes?
Yes, I mean, as far as like his Catholicism, you mean, in his like kind of reckoning with that and his vampirism, that I picked up on for sure. And especially his like disillusionment with, is there a hell? Am I going to go to a hell if I do end up perishing? Like those sort of things. Yes, those definitely come through in the movie, I feel like. But the backstory obviously isn't there. It's just that's just who this guy was, It's just like,
his curiosity.
Yeah, I thought there was one line, I wrote it down because it stuck out to me in particular. It's when I think it's when they first go to Europe. Louise says, there was a hell, and no matter where we moved to, I was in it. Which I do think is a really interesting extrapolation of like Christian Catholic theology, because he's moved past like an actual theological belief in hell and has instead just adopted that into the worst state I could possibly be in. I am constantly in that state, and thus that is hell. And it's a really interesting restructuring of like the morals of the human into the vampire. We see the way that they take their human morality and translate it into this amoral form of morality, because they've already thrown away everything, like, they have to murder people in order to survive. And so everything changes.
Yes.
Well, he's super conflicted with that. That's why he, eats the vermin of the age. But yeah.
There was one rat scene that I really liked, and I'm a rat lover, but the scene where Tom Cruise kills a rat and then squeezes the blood out of it like it's a juice bag really got me.
Like, here you go.
He was just squeezing the rat. Like,
that right made me nauseous.
Right into the cup, like, just like,
well,
hey, you know what? Humans, here you go, buddy. Look, if you get a really fat rat,
I know how this works. That doesn't work.
That's really funny.
As the rat lover of this podcast, I'm always someone that's like pointing out all the rat actors in all the movies.
At least these rats were puppet rats. These were definitely props. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I mean,
that did make me so nauseous though when he did that.
Lydia would flip out if we did Ninja Turtles.
No.
She'd be like, that's my favorite rat. There he is. He's a celebrity. So Claudia's demise is actually pretty intense, even in this adaptation, and pretty harrowing, especially for her, obviously, seeing it. And Louis, I mean, she has been alive for a long time now, but appearance-wise, she's still a little kid. And so watching her deal with this, her fate is pretty harrowing stuff, right? What do you guys think of that scene?
I have young kids, and so like you can't help but, even though she was just going with the cards she was dealt, man. You know what I mean? Like, she was living life. I mean, she's a vampire. She's supposed to eat people. I felt a great connection to her, and like I felt genuinely sad when she died, because the only thing that she wanted to do was to have a mom, someone to care, and yeah, it was pretty emotional for me.
That scene made me tear up. Her performance in that scene of her like begging for a companion, like, got me. It's like, this acting is on another level.
Yeah, I mean, her as a character just being someone that never got to have that like human life experience, where at least like Lestat and Louis got to have 25 years of being human. But it's interesting because she's a character that's so monstrous in what she technically does, but she's also it's so impossible to blame her for any of it, because it really is just like she never had the chance to be anything else but what she is.
Yeah, and she's like kind of stuck in a stage of arrested development, right? Like, I mean, when she's turned, she's this kid, and then she matures, goes through her life, and basically falls in love with Louis in the film, especially, and but he cannot see her as anything but a daughter. Like, that's who he sees her as, and everybody else around her sees her as this child. So she never gets to have any sort of adult sort of life.
Like, who could she fall in love with? She's in the body of a 9-year-old, and she has the mind of a 40-year-old. Like,
yeah, it's just like really, it's a really tragic case. And then when they turn the mother because she wants the daughter, so she has a companion because she's mad at Louis, and then that's like his whole connection to the world is her. I mean, that's all he really has to live for and care for at this point. And when her to be taken away from him, he just literally burns it all to the ground, which is a pretty cathartic scene when he does, right?
Yep, I'd have done the same thing. Set those guys ablaze.
I do, in terms of Claudia's character, I just had this thought. It's interesting how much of an emphasis is put in the movie on consent before creation. Like, Lestat has this running theme with both Louis and Daniel at the end, where he said, or the interviewer at the end, where he says, like, I will only turn you if you ask for it. But he didn't do that with Claudia. He turned Claudia without, she couldn't have consented, but without her consent, he turned her. And I just find that to be a really interesting thing, and I wonder why that is.
That is. Maybe it's what we in the biz call a plot hole. But but also it could
definitely.
it could also be out of desperation because he is so desperate for Louis to stay that he even goes against his own moral code. But yes, he does ask, because he says that to him, even like, I need, because he was turned without consent.
Yeah.
So that's part of his backstory, is that he was turned without consent. So he would never do that to another creature because he doesn't think it's right.
I mean, he does come to regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, in more ways than one, I think the whole situation, but yeah.
I think in the book he kind of knows better too. In the movie, you don't really get the sense that he knows better. He's just using it as a manipulation tool.
Well, it's a lot like a couple having a child to fix a dysfunctional marriage, right?
It's exactly that.
100% that. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's like, well, things aren't going well, but maybe if we introduce a new life that we have to take care of, that'll make things way better.
Yeah,
it always does.
I'm telling you,
I'm kidding.
Opposite.
It's
bad news.
I wonder if there's like a little bit of sexism there too, and I don't know how deeply they thought it through when they were putting the movie together. But there is an aspect of it's like where they expect Claudia to just stay this doll, and they have the whole running theme with her with she is this baby doll to them. Where I kind of think that these two men in 1800s America looking at this little girl and saying she will fix us, she will be this perfect plaything to us, to the point where he doesn't even get her consent before he turns her. Honestly, I think that's one of the most like monstrous things that they do in the entire, and it's when you remove the layer of like killing people is bad as like your baseline of morality. Once that's out the window, you have to define a
good moral line
moral code. Yeah, yes, but for vampires,
no.
And so I think in the exploration of like how much of a mistake it was to non-consensually turn Claudia, who was someone who was too young and female in this world where she was never going to have real agency, I think that's one of the moral lines where the film very clearly says like this is not the correct thing to do, and I think that's very interesting.
Bad. Yeah, that's a good point. It is, especially when you see, not only, yeah, you're right. Not only does she not have agency because of her age, but because of the time they were living in, as a female. But imagine being a 40-year-old, like you said, a 40-year-old, 9-year-old. Like you're just like
awful.
Getting dolls every year for your birthday. It's like it's like when I was a kid and I got like they were still getting toys. I was like, I want a PlayStation game. You know what I mean? Like that's this now. Thanks.
Well,
Thanks, but no thanks.
The original book was written because Anne Rice lost her very young daughter to, I think it was leukemia. And so Claudia kind of spun out of that personal experience of grief that she had. And I wonder if in part the character is kind of Anne Rice's way of coping with the instinct that we have with our loved ones to say, like, I want you to stay the way you are right now forever. And of her processing through, okay, but that nothing can be forever and nothing should be forever.
Yeah, and also like, getting through the grief itself by letting her go.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Christian Slater, by the way, is in this as well as the interviewer. He's there. Good old Christian Slater.
Technically there.
He's technically there for a couple scenes. So here's the thing. I was talking to them about it. When I was a kid and I watched this movie, I really had like no context for what was going on. I was like 10 years old, 10 years old. And I'm like watching it because it had Tom Cruise in it. And it, had, Benicio del Toro and Christian Slater, who to me I liked because I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. So I was like, he's from Robin Hood. He's from Young Guns. I like him. And, I still kind of like him a little bit. But anyway, that part was actually supposed to be River Phoenix.
Oh.
River Phoenix was cast as the interviewer.
Oh, wow.
Well. But he passed away of a drug overdose.
That is unfortunate.
And then, so here's what's cool. Christian Slater stepped in and did the part and donated his whole salary to charity.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah. See, now you feel bad about dogging on Christian Slater, don't you?
What a great guy. Holy cow.
I have such mixed feelings about the interviewer character. Because
yeah, I do too.
If the show, the AMC show that's just coming out has done one thing, it has shown me what is possible if you make that interviewer an actual character who is like actually doing something and participating in the story. Because that's one of the most frustrating things about the first book for me, is that his role really is just to sit there and go, and then what happened and what happened next. And it makes the interview a simple frame rather than using it as a storytelling tool.
100% he's a framing device. He's there to move the plot along and also to, in the movie, to underline the theme of the movie, right?
Yes.
That's what he's there to do. He's there to underline the theme of the movie. He's there for that great moment when he says, oh, I heard about all this terrible shit that you went through and how miserable and awful all of it was. You should turn me. And then Louis says, what the fuck are you talking about? Did you not hear a word I said? What are you talking about, guy?
The power of
it's like he was going,
yeah.
Yeah. And he was just kind of like spacing out and then coming back to it.
Smoking a cigarette.
Like you're in a chemistry class. He's like, vampires, huh?
That sounds neat.
It's like, yeah, I wonder what that's about. It spaces out for 45 minutes while Brad Pitt's talking. But
he's got a tape recorder. He's good.
Yeah, I'll catch it later. Wonder what happened on Matlock tonight. There's a timely 1994 reference for you. But you're right. I agree that I've not watched the TV series, but I do agree with you as a character. The narrator is, or the interviewer is not a character. He's literally a plot device to underline the theme and then to give us like a one last shocking, fun moment to end the movie on, right?
Yeah, and it does mean that because he takes such a backseat role, we're left just to take Louis at his word. And what I like a lot about the books as they build on each other is that Anne Rice looks back at her narrative and has Lestat say stuff about the first book where he's like, well, that wasn't true and that wasn't true and that was kind of a misinterpretation of how things went. And then in later books, she has Louis look back and go, oh, well, this was a misinterpretation and this was a misinterpretation. And the narrative voice in her books just becomes stronger and stronger as the stories go. Whereas the movie very kind of uncritically examines the story as it is put before us, when I think that there is a lot to criticize in an interesting way.
Yeah, I mean, I think because the movie is what the movie is, we're supposed to take, Louis' word as gospel, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is the definitive version of what happened. And you're right. I mean, maybe if they made a sequel with this cast and this crew, that could have changed. We'll briefly mention this, the follow up to this movie here shortly, briefly. But yeah, that is very interesting. That's a very interesting way to, especially the story as a whole. Now this is Scream Bloody Movies. So what do we think about the horror in this movie?
I like it. I'm a fan personally. They used the balance of like blood and romance. I thought was really well done, with it being like gruesome in parts and really gross in that scene, especially when Tom Cruise or when Lestat comes back as the mummified version of him and he's playing the piano. That is like peak cinema.
It's really cool. That scene is great. That's the practical effects you were talking about, Lydia.
Yep.
When he comes back and he's like all fucking decrepit and gross, that's great.
Amazing. It's so good.
I do have one question that I couldn't understand. So he came back and he's had plenty of time to feed on a human being. Why did he wait so long before he regained all of his strength?
Dramatic effect.
He's just hiding in the. I guess he's just hiding in the shadows. Like,
I
the world has passed me by.
I interpreted it as because he's just in such a depression, essentially.
I mean, it could be.
He kind of doesn't want to live anymore in the story of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of is dealing with this existential guilt that he feels from all of the events. Basically, all the events in the movie are because of him, and he's alone.
Well, yeah,
and
I mean,
so
his family abandoned him. They hate him.
They tried to kill him.
More than them just leaving. They loathe him.
Yeah, and they tried to murder him. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they thought they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's why I would guess, Derek. And then he's finally, once Louis visits him and basically says, I don't hate you, it gives him permission to live again. And then he's like, I'm just going to go back to being batshit fucking crazy and fun.
That's all you can do as a vampire sometimes.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm vengeful. I would have juiced up and started my tour of madness.
I mean, listen, I think it takes time for them to recover too. I think is a part of it. That it's depending on how badly a vampire is injured and how much spirit they have in them, it takes them more time to recover. If we're to look at the lore.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that all got changed, to the movie anyways. That's not quite how it happened.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Close enough.
As a horror movie, it's not very scary to me personally. It's fine. It has some good gore effects. It has some cool scenes. But it's a lot of fun. I wasn't bored watching it at all.
It's definitely more in the Gothic tradition. Sorry to interrupt. It's more in the Gothic tradition where it's the thing that is horrifying is the way that it confronts you with humanity and all that.
Yeah, but I just they didn't make it as a horror movie. It just has horror elements. They don't lean into the horror at all. They don't lean into the shadows and stuff. That's not the focus of the movie. The focus is the story and the characters and this kind of sweeping tale of vampires. So I get it. That's not me saying the movie's bad because of it, but this is a horror movie podcast, so I have to talk about that. That's kind of the elephant in the room, right?
I mean, we have done Dracula Dead and Loving It, so I mean, this is
We have.
this is definitely a step in the other direction.
This one, about as scary.
So terrifying.
Not quite as funny. Dracula Dead and Loving It's a wild ride. You've seen that, right? That's a wild ride.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah,
it is. It's a good one. So yeah, the ending, guys, is a lot of fun.
I love the ending. It's so camp.
I really do too. Yeah. I love that. There's a couple things that I do think is funny, though. That I think it's funny that he attacks him, and then he's just like, doing his thing, and not even paying attention to what he's driving.
Right?
Perfectly fine. And then he just takes the wheel and he's doing his speech and everything. And all of it's great fun. He's like, makes fun of Louis on the thing. He's still talking about this, blah, blah, blah.
Have you heard enough? I've had to listen to that for centuries.
Turns it off, gives him the speech about consent, laughs maniacally, drives off into the night. Great ending.
Absolutely.
Where did he learn to drive?
He's had time.
He's been alive. A lot of people.
He learned how to drive when he bit him. He learned how to drive that car when he bit him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he doesn't know how to drive. He touches the steering wheel like this, which I do in my car all the time now.
I just assumed
he just got a manicure.
Yeah, I just assumed he's immortal. He doesn't care.
What do you think? He's trying to get his attention. Talk about my nails.
He doesn't even care. He doesn't care that he's about to wreck, because if they do, it's not going to hurt him any worse.
Yeah, he's immortal. He's fine.
Christian Slater's gone.
Right. Yeah, but it totally ruined that cool ride that you're in.
Good point.
They get another one.
Yeah, well, I don't know. He was living in like a decrepit factory. I don't think he's swimming.
I think was that not their? Was that not like an old plantation house?
Yeah, it was like a decrepit. Yeah, it was like a decrepit.
Yeah,
like
it might have been their old apartment. Might have been.
Yeah. I thought there was some sentimental.
One thing
I do love. Go ahead.
You're good.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I like in the movie how broke Lestat is. That's like the driving impetus of his character is he's like, Louis, I love you. I love your house. I love how you own it so that we own a house.
Yes.
That's like his entire drive through the film. And I find that enchanting. The concept of just a broke vampire that really loves frilly shirts.
I love the idea that he just is couch surfing for eternity.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like Christian Slater. You got a couch?
Here for a few days.
If you have an MO, just go with it. Some people don't change.
Hey, you mind if I crash on your couch for a few days? Don't do it. He won't leave for like ever.
Like 200 years.
He just sticks around. He doesn't have a job. He refuses to work the night shift, and that's the only viable time. He says it interferes with his nightlife.
It's in the book. He has like unlimited money, but I really like that in the movie he's just kind of broke, and he's just like, Louis, the house. Don't burn the house down. Where will we live?
Yeah, giving somebody unlimited money in a story is kind of like a life hack, right? It's just kind of like a Deus Ex Machina, because then it's a lot of fiction. It's the same thing with why does Bruce Wayne have all the cool shit he has? Well, because he's a billionaire. He can just buy everything. Okay, we'll buy that. That's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, at least in his case, like there's a whole backstory that explains how he's a billionaire.
Well, there is a backstory of Lestat's money.
This is true.
And that's fair, and I don't know that, but.
Well, I do think it's interesting because, like, in Anne Rice's world, nothing is a problem except your own internal problems, because everyone has a ton of money, everyone's gonna live forever, everybody can just explode each other with their minds if they really put their hearts into it. That's the thing in the book. And so it's and like morality's out the window because you're killing people every day, and so you're left with this question of like, well, what is a human then? Am I still human? What do I count as if I don't have any of these things in my way, and why am I still so miserable? And I think that Louis gets to that point in the movie. I think they hit that point well, where it's like, I have everything I could possibly need, so why am I still so discontent?
Yeah, it's philosophical drama. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why Lestat becomes the best vampire, because he really just has no worries.
He just lives it up. And he does have worries, and he crashes out constantly. There was that time he almost exploded himself in the desert. But he always bounces back. All of the later books just end up being Lestat does something really stupid, and then pays the price.
Has to fix it.
Yeah, it's pretty much all of the later books.
That is interesting, because in the movie you have to give them some sort of like physical threat, right, for it to be exciting.
Yeah.
There has to be some kind of external like of danger of death. Because if not, I mean, you're just kind of like, oh, he's sad. Cry me a river, you know?
Yeah.
Cry me a river, vampire. But
yeah.
you know, so that it does make these. That's what I think made them so hard to adapt. Why it took so long to adapt it. Plus the underlying homosexual, homoeroticism and all the other stuff. But the fact that they made this movie, and they made it in 1994, and it turned out as well as it did, is kind of a mini miracle, right?
I agree.
Because this could have been really bad.
It could have been way worse. Although I will say, they were originally talking, in order to get rid of the homoeroticism, they were talking about casting a woman as Louis, and Shire was the one they were going to cast, and I would pay every dollar in the world to see the Shire version.
The Shire Tom Cruise version?
Yes. Oh.
She says, no matter how hard I try.
That would have been a really wild movie.
Yeah.
For sure.
Weird.
I don't know how I feel about that. That sounds...
Think about it.
It would have been a worse movie, but it would have been a way more interesting movie.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Cher sitting in those interview scenes? That'd have been hilarious. She's just sitting there, and you're like, fucking Cher talking to Christian Slater. What's going on here?
Just chatting. Just hanging out.
There's just chatting it up. What I will say,
probably is.
I could see why he would want her to turn her if it was Cher, though. You know,
I mean, yeah,
it follows.
You're like, okay, whatever you say, Cher.
Whatever
I'm
you want, Cher.
Yep, I got you, babe.
Oh my gosh,
low hanging fruit.
It is. I'm just thinking about that Sonny Bono joke that I made once, and Lydia got so mad at me. She got so mad.
She's mad again.
No, I was thinking about it. She's like, "Oh my gosh."
She's mad. He was going to bring it up.
Listen.
I was like, "Oh no, we're talking about Cher."
No.
She's so mad she can't see the forest from the trees.
Jamie. Terrible.
Hopefully, we're not offending anybody.
Listen.
You know, it's her uncle, Derek. How dare you? Anyway, so this movie came out. This movie exists.
It's true.
What do you guys think of an Interview with the Vampire? As a film, and then what do you guys think of it as an adaptation? What would you give it?
Okay, the film, as a film itself, it's so hard for me to separate it because I love the book so much. A film, I give it like probably a 6 out of 10 for me. It's not bad by any means. It's one that I enjoy watching in like a popcorny way, but it's also one where it's like, I've watched it 3 times at this point. I don't know if I'm ever really going to watch it again. As an adaptation, it's probably like a 5 out of 10 in that it shows why faithfulness isn't always the best thing that an adaptation can have.
Yes, and that's an excellent point to make, because I agree. Sometimes it's more important to adapt the spirit
Yeah.
of the story as opposed to the events of the story, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if you have to fudge some things to get the concept across or the meaning across, then I think that's more important than slavish. I mean, like the Dune movies, for
Oh, yeah.
example. They're pretty close to the source material, but they take big changes to tell the story that's the
Yeah.
subtext of the book.
Yeah, I
So
think any adaptational process very much involves like picking and choosing. You can't have everything. It's not going to be an exact adaptation. Nothing ever is. And so it is a matter of picking and choosing. And that's why I think the comparison of the AMC show to the movie is so interesting, because the AMC show takes wild leaps. Like it changes things drastically. But in certain ways, I think it interprets the core of the stories much more faithfully, despite the events themselves being very different in so many ways. So it's not a bad adaptation. It's just not necessarily, I would say, the most faithful in terms of theme.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Lydia, very well said. Lydia, what do you think of Interview with the Vampire?
I have loved this movie for so long. I was obsessed with this movie. I watched it probably 100 times as a teenager. I thought I was going to be giving this movie a 10 today, but I
Shocker.
read the books and I watched the series, and now I'm like so conflicted with it. So I think,
well, judge it on the merits of the film. Judge it as its own thing. Yeah.
just the film, I'm gonna give you 7. I think it's a beautiful film, and the performances, especially from Kirsten Dunst, is spectacular. I would highly recommend this movie to like anybody. Be like, yes, watch it.
Derek, what do we say?
So I like this movie a lot. Like I said, I had seen clips that were just recommended because the algorithm knows the stuff that I watch. So it was great to like fill in all the gaps, and I thought that this movie was beautiful. Like it was really nice to watch. Like the period pieces, like they looked fantastic. I thought the acting was pretty good. And surprising. Kristen Dunst, like you can't say enough about the performance that she gave. Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie probably about a 7 as well. I wish I had the context, and maybe I will read the book, but at this point, I don't know. Maybe my wife just like signed us up for for the Amazon like Kindle app, so maybe I'll actually read it. Maybe I'll read it with Clark at night. Scare the crap out of him. He's my 8-year-old son. We're not reading that book, but anyway.
There's a lot of incest in this one.
we started reading The Mandalorian tonight, so
okay, that's cute.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Nice.
I don't have any context for adaption either, because I've not read this book. I really wish I remembered which one that was that I had. I'll have to I'll look at the titles and see if one of them rings a bell. But I'm going to give this movie a 6.5. Right around there with you guys. I think as a movie, it's pretty solid. It's entertaining. It moves at a pretty good clip. Has some good to great performances. I think the Kirsten Dunst performance is great. And I think Tom Cruise is great in this. I think he's just it's like a movie star turn. Him doing just off the wall shit. I'm like, I like this. This is fun. But there are you can feel some of the rush job of it, and there are the kind of story issues here and there. And I'm not like, super huge into sweeping vampire romances as like a general genre, but a good film. Now, here's what I want to do. Let's talk a little bit, because we're not reviewing the movie, but of the sequel to this movie, to a degree. The Queen of the Damned.
Are they? They're not. I don't. They're not comparable.
It's a movie that was made.
It was.
For sure. It was a movie that was made.
It did get made.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, let's talk about, like, just real quick, going from Tom Cruise to Stuart Townsend is one of the all-time greatest, like,
downgrades
I can think of.
Yeah, it's pretty grim. It is not a great look. I will say I find the Queen of the Damned movie very fun. The music is a blast. The rest of it is a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it did not fare nearly as well as this one, critically or commercially. It was kind of like a notorious, like, flop.
Akasha was great in it. She was fantastic.
So
she was great. The best part of that movie by a mile.
Yes.
But
I haven't seen Queen of the Damned for a long time, and I just read it, so now I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
And
right before season 3.
I know. I can't wait.
That's great. But yeah, it's really funny that these two properties exist, you know.
They both
like
exist.
It's like a way belated movie that's like from the author of Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
You guys remember that movie? This kind of has really nothing to do with it.
It's like
except the
a
character.
weird step cousin of a movie compared to this one. Again, a fun movie. A good one, maybe not.
So that is Interview with the Vampire. Now you know what we got to do. It's time to Atkinize.
I heard about this.
Does she know who Tom Atkins is?
I do. Yes.
And how handsome of a dude he is.
On the episode, we Atkinize this film. So we are going to, who would the great Tom Atkins play in this movie to make this a better film?
Thrill me.
Claudia.
I was going to say Louis. What?
Claudia, hard. That's my hard line. I guess we can talk about other options, but
I think Louis wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. There aren't that many other characters.
There aren't. The interviewer. He'd be a more interesting interviewer, I guess.
He would be. I agree. Yeah.
I could see that.
Except
I don't know that he could pull off the charisma of
Lestat.
Tom Cruise.
No, I wouldn't replace Tom Cruise in this movie.
No.
We could put him as like Santiago.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know.
I think if he's the problem with putting him as the interviewer is, at the end, he'd probably just kick Lestat's ass because just whoop his ass, throw him out of the
car, throw him off the bridge,
and he's like, "What the hell is this vampire doing in my car?" As he smokes a cigarette.
Or they would fall in
picks
love.
Up Jamie Lee Curtis.
Or they would fall in love.
Well, yeah, that could happen too. He sees him and immediately is smitten. That's the most beautiful man I've ever seen.
It's the effect, you know?
Yeah, I could see that.
I like him as the interviewer. Yeah. If it can't be Claudia.
I think that's the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he can't be Claudia, if they would have some adaption issue. Can you imagine if in this movie they just cast a 45-year-old man in that role?
You could put him in a wig. Like, I don't think you're giving space for, like, you could put him in a wig.
Like, for the adaptation.
You know,
like, so there's this character that's a little girl in the story. What if we make him, instead of 45
Gary Oldman? Should we make him Gary Oldman?
Let's replace the whole cast. Hang
on. Tiptoes?
From Tiptoes?
I was going to say, don't bring up Tiptoes. Dang it. Gary Oldman can play anybody, okay?
I believe it.
He can.
The role of a lifetime.
And then we have Shire. We have Shire as Louis, and we keep Tom
We're doing
Cruise
this whole
Oh my gosh,
the only actor that stays is Tom Cruise. Everybody else is recast with ridiculous people.
And then there's a Muppet
Leslie
in there
Nielsen
somewhere.
as Armand.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
I want to see this.
Oh my gosh.
All right. And that is Interview with the Vampire. It's my turn to pick, right?
Yep.
So next week we are going to watch Good Boy. That's what we're watching next week. It is streaming on Peacock, I do believe. Let's see.
I can't wait. I've been wanting to watch this one.
Yes, it's going to be a good one. Oh, Hulu and Disney Plus is where it's streaming. So next week, be sure to check that out. Guys, have any other closing statements about Interview with the Vampire?
Read the book and watch the show.
Watch the show, definitely.
Watch the show. It's on Netflix. I compel you to watch the show. I want more and more seasons of it, please.
Yes.
That's all.
So worth it. So worth it.
It's the best thing on TV.
Does it air on Netflix, or is it does it air on another? Does it go to Netflix?
It airs on AMC. The first 2 seasons are just up on Netflix. When season 3 comes out in like 10 days, actually, when season 3 starts up, that will be on AMC, but it'll probably get transferred to something eventually.
Nice, cool. So AMC is where you can watch that.
And you can, if you want more information, more deep dive, go watch Jess of the Shire video.
I've done many things. If you want to know the story of the books without having to read the books, I have a 4-hour video talking about all of the books in the Vampire Chronicles series.
There you go, Derek. That'll save you all that reading time.
That will.
Yeah, and Clark can watch it with you.
It's a hell of a journey.
I don't know. He's home on on Christmas. No, definitely none of those things.
It's
summer break. He's on summer
Merry
break.
Christmas, guys. I'm really glad we got together.
We're almost halfway there.
Happy Hanukkah.
I went through them all.
You did. So that is our episode for tonight. Jess, thanks for coming on and talking Interview with the Vampire.
This was wonderful.
It was a blast. You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know if you're watching folk horror things. I'll come back.
Hey, you pick a movie that you want us to do sometime, and we'll do it.
Okay, sounds good.
And we'll talk about it again. You just tell us when, and we'll make time. Be sure to check out Jess's video on this very topic. Ours is scratching the surface. Ours is literally just talking about this movie.
Isn't even the cliff notes. This is like
ours is just talking about the movie and throwing in a bunch of jokes.
I heard somebody talk about it.
Educational. So watch that one. And don't forget to tune in next week when we watch Good Boy. You can follow us online at HiLaProductions.com. You can follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. Be sure to stay tuned after this episode to watch the opening scene for our horror film, Secret Admirer. We'll follow this immediately. And then we have some big news on the next short coming out called High Stakes. There's some big moves coming for that. So we should have some kind of casting updates in the next, I'd say, month or so. So stay tuned for that. And we may have some little plot nuggets for you. So
exciting.
Stay tuned for that. So until next week, for Derek Lemaster, Lydia Judy, and Jess of the Shire, I'm Jamie Hiles. And remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.